Let's just say that.
I've lived a wild life, my friend.
That's a lie, but okay. Your wife has not been wild whatsoever.
Uh,
All right, let's go ahead and get into it. Thank you. You are about to enter another episode of the Traveling Hoopers. We're back for season 4. This is season 4, guys.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's season 4, bro.
That's kind of nuts. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, it's special.
Yep.
Yeah, bro. Anyway, first episode. We already got to talk about. It's off season. We what? How many days we into?
Like 4 days into free agency, and then
there was the NBA draft.
the NBA draft was like 5 days ago or something like that.
Yeah.
So
And
what?
then-
Day 4?
What?
Day 4 free agency.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
All right. So most of the big transactions out of the way, except like Anthony Davis and whatnot. But they rich. We already know where they going.
They rich. They rich. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So what y'all thinking? Winners, losers, biggest moves.
If I say a winner, it's obviously going to be the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns are a winner. I'm not a big Chris Paul fan. I'm okay. Let me show you that. I'm a big Chris Paul fan for like what he does for like outside of basketball. His game is like fine. Like I'm fine with his game. He's just a point guard that'll never win a championship. He's hit the ceiling of where his capabilities are on the basketball court. He's just a fine point guard to me personally. But he is what Devin Booker needs to elevate his career and elevate his game. And the Phoenix Suns made some other moves, outside of that, which will also benefit them, especially in comparison to how they played last year. But it's just to add on how they ended the year last year as well. And then another winner, I would say, honestly, including the draft, would be the Golden State Warriors. For they took an L because of the whole Klay Thompson thing, but I don't want to say disregarding that because you can't really disregard that, but even with that being the case, they still did a lot in terms of filling in holes, right? And we're gonna like Steph Curry doesn't have an excuse this year to not make the playoffs. Let's just say that, right? You have Kelly Oubre, he's solid, he's gonna get the job done at least, you know what I mean? Wiseman's the big man they needed. Draymond Green doesn't have any excuse like he had last year in terms of, at least producing to a decent level, an average level in terms of rebounds, points, and assists. The Golden State Warriors should make the playoffs. Like, honestly, they should make the playoffs. And then another winner that comes off the top of my head is also the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, yeah.
Drew Holiday is nice. Like, people who are like, this is a big three with Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, and Giannis. Like, Drew Holiday is like this. He's better than Chris Middleton on both ends of the floor. Offensively, arguably, but definitely defensively. So if you could stop, like, just the option of pulling Giannis off the best defender and putting Drew Holiday on them and then putting Giannis on the second best player on defense is going to make such a big difference that I think it's been severely understated to this point. So I think they're also a winner also, or that's a lot of alsos. I think there is a winner as well. And then, I think past that, you can make arguments for winners, but those for me are the clear cuts.
I don't know how you don't have the Lakers. How you didn't say the Lakers? I feel like the Lakers got better in like a weird. They made some weird trades, but they have enough people. The whole like the Dwight. Like I like Dwight Howard a lot in that position with the Lakers. Before them, what they got Marc Gasol now and like Jordan Bell.
I mean, the only reason I didn't say the Lakers is because I think it's hard to say. I think it's hard to say somebody got better or somebody like they made adequate or more than adequate adjustments outside of the or after a championship year. I like the other teams aren't champions, and like they're gonna go from like two of the ones I did were going from non-playoffs teams to playoffs teams, right?
Yeah.
In Golden State, and then Milwaukee potentially has like really good in the East, like all-time good in the whole entire NBA. I wouldn't put the Lakers up there with that because the Lakers would go from championship possibly to championship again, and so like they didn't make as significant of strides as these other three teams, and that's why I personally didn't put them up there.
Reasonable statement. What about you, Calvin?
So let's see, who do I think won? Well, Golden State looks like they might, like previously mentioned, looks like they might actually be competitive. They got Wiseman in the draft, even though my understanding was they weren't really trying to use that pick. They would have rather like traded or something. But like if they kept the pick, it was like with Wiseman, it's one of them things like it made too much sense not to do. Like it made too much sense for them to get Wiseman, for them to, that was a pick that was basically impossible to mess up. I think oh, um at least in this early stage, I think that both um the Nuggets and Jeremy Grant lost free agency.
No,
Um
Jeremy Grant, one free agency. He got that bag. That's what we talking about. That's it.
No, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? Because my understanding was that the money that Detroit was going to pay him, the Nuggets were going to pay him the same amount. And the reason I say it is because like you left the championship contender. I get you want to play a bigger role, but you left the championship contender and you didn't make them pay more than the Nuggets were prepared to pay you.
I'm not excited to see Jeremy Grant in the larger role. Like,
I mean, honestly though, but like
I like him.
the Pistons made moves. Some are suspect, but like other like, but a good amount of them are like legitimately like solid moves. You know what I mean? Like getting Jeremy Grant's a solid move for the Pistons to put him alongside Blake Griffin, and then you know, uh, the only actually they made a lot of good moves. The only suspect move is to pay Mason Plumlee that much money for 4 years or for 3 or 4 years. They paid him too much money, and that is, but like Mason Plumlee is a journeyman, but he's getting paid more than a journeyman's amount right now. But also, the journeymen right now are getting paid more than everybody. If you include, are not getting paid more than everybody, but they're getting paid more than any other journeyman in NBA history. Just like you saw Jordan Clarkson get that significant amount of money from the Utah Jazz. Like journeymen are getting paid good money and they're taking advantage of it. Jeremy Grant, Mason Plumlee, Jordan Clarkson, they're getting ridiculous money just to be coming off the bench for whatever reason. You know what I mean? But I do think the Pistons did pretty decent this offseason.
If we talking about quote unquote journeyman getting the bag, let's talk about Gordon Hayward.
But I wouldn't consider Gordon Hayward a journeyman though because he's only been on 2 teams.
That's why I said quote unquote. Like it was more of a joke. Like that man just showing up for the bag at this point, right? Like he left Boston. I get like role, but like you left your chance of like at least sniffing a championship.
He went to Charlotte, right?
Yeah.
Does Michael Jordan have some kind of like love for white players?
I've been confused by that for so long because he kept drafting the same player. Like if the first one didn't work out, and I don't mean like in a derogatory sense, but I feel like Tyler Zeller and Frank Kaminsky was it too much of a difference?
No, he got Cody. Cody. Or was it Tyler or Cody?
I think it was Cody.
Yeah, it was Cody.
Neither of them are special.
He got Cody out of Indiana. Yeah, he was. That blew me away. And I don't know. Like I'm not like, why does Michael Jordan keep getting the same players? Except I do think having Gordon Hayward and then having what's his name from KU?
Devontae Graham?
Devontae Graham.
Having Devontae Graham is gonna. Those two are gonna do wonders for the growth of LaMelo Ball specifically, though. I will say that. Like that is true though, because it will alleviate some pressure from him in terms of scoring, and I think that's gonna be incredibly impactful on the growth of LaMelo in a positive direction, though. So, like, if that was his goal, then I'm all for it. But I'm pretty sure that wasn't his goal. is the issue. I'm like, I don't want to say I've lost all faith in Michael Jordan as a GM. Is he GM or he's owner? But is he GM
He's
too?
the owner.
I think he relinquished GM rights like a while ago.
All right, but he make too many decisions.
Yeah.
But I don't know what his rationale is, let's just say, for why the Charlotte Hornets draft the way they do. But if he's drafting all these players to relieve LaMelo Ball and like help LaMelo Ball grow, then I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick, I will say this. I think a really understated pickup in this whole debacle of free agency and whatever, Steven Adams to the Pelicans is big. I do think sorry, say one more time.
No, go on with that because I don't exactly like the fit to begin with, just with Zion, because I'm not sure how much space you really need to have him around rim to be effective. So
they are okay. So I mean, it's an upgrade from what they had last year for sure.
Oh yeah.
One in terms of age, and in terms of athleticism, and Steven Adams has a really high basketball IQ. Like, I think that's understated about his game. So like he knows what he's doing and he knows his role and does it to perfection. In terms of space, I think they're going to be fine in terms of space because they made some moves and they don't have George Hill anymore, but they kept Eric Bledsoe for the backup point guard role, and Zion is probably going to space his game out a little more. Brandon Ingram has done that. Lonzo Ball has done that. They still have JJ Redick. Like, they have enough players to do that, but I think that if you're going to do an upgrade from Derek Favors, you might as well get a player who plays similar like him, except Steven Adams is only 27 years old. He's not old whatsoever, and you watch OKC games. He's crazy strong.
Ridiculous.
So I also think Derek Favors wasn't strong defensively. So I think they want to, they're a quick team, they're a fast team, and that's going to be the way they play again this upcoming season. But I think they wanted to lock it down more defensively as well. And if you have a front court of Zion or backcourt, whatever it is, I don't know. If you have the 4-5 of Zion and you have it of Steven Adams, that's ridiculous, honestly. And then everybody else is going to play solid defense around them. Like that's good. You know what I mean? And I do think in terms of just like elevation of where you want to go next year, that is a good thing. And I also didn't see the Mavericks make one move.
They did trade Seth Curry. Speaking of which, I feel like for Philly, I feel like that is an important pickup. They need to do more, of course, but like if you're assuming they continue to want to try and like make Embiid and Simmons work, they have to get more shooting, and Curry gives them some of that. Like it won't be enough by itself, but it's an important thing.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. The 76ers, and to have Dwight Howard as a backup center is a solid move also. Mm-hmm. If he can imitate anything he did of this past season. If he starts going back to Wizards, Dwight Howard, then he will be out of the league in less than 2 years, guaranteed. But yeah, the 76ers did need that shooting 100% though.
Hey, that's Seth Curry effect. Like, he might not have a ton of gravity, and that is really just defensive fault because we, like the Mavs, like we ate so many people up last year just because of him, bro. Like when he got hot, he was almost shooting like 50% from three at some point. Like he was killing.
I mean, I'm not mad at him as a player. I'm fine with him as a player. He's just a journeyman to me. He's Jordan Clarkson. Jordan Clarkson gets hot like that too. You know what I mean? Like they're the same kind of players.
He's a four-man Steph.
He's what?
Like he's a shooter. I would argue, or at least I'd use the phrase, even if it's not completely accurate. He's kind of just a poor man's Steph.
If
Like-
we gonna be accurate, we're gonna say a poor man's like JJ Redick. Cause
like
I'll give you that.
Steph is too crafty with the ball. Because Steph is like, I don't like him because I think he ruined basketball forever. But like he is very crafty with the ball. He can like get to the rim and do like these wild finishes and all kind of stuff. Seth is just a shooter. Like he's JJ Redick. Come off the screen, pop, shoot. You know what I mean? Like he actually plays more like Klay Thompson than anything else. If you're gonna be honest with you, in terms of offense.
That's fair.
And he can shoot that bitch. He can shoot it.
That's all they need him to do.
That's very true.
I got a question though. So how do y'all feel about Obi Toppin going to the Knicks in the draft?
I think positionally, I don't have an issue with that. I think they're going to have some problems defensively down the line, but I don't know. I'm interested. I didn't watch a ton of Obi Toppin at Dayton, so I don't have a lot for you, but people say he's nice in the draft, so.
He is good. The Knicks just have a lot of forwards, so they did need a forward. They didn't need any forwards. He is gonna be good for them. He's gonna be good for the city itself, advertisement, sponsorships, so on and so forth. But
is he gonna be good for the city, or is the city gonna be good to him?
No, he's from there. He's gonna be good to the city.
Wait, he's from
New York.
Yeah, he's from New York.
Oh,
he's from New York, so he's gonna be good for the city.
Them.
Hometown story, because the Knicks never win championships, so they need like underlying storylines. And so like in the context of that, it's gonna be good. In basketball sense, the Knicks have too many forwards, not enough good guards. So they probably could have drafted a little bit differently. But I think he's gonna be a good pro. He's gonna be a good pro.
Yeah. He's gonna be super solid. Probably a career starter, or at least close to.
Well, the thing is though, he works hard, and I think and if I remember right, he's kind of old.
He's 22.
So like, but he works hard. You know what I mean? That is what it is. He works hard. So like when you work hard, eventually he might get that Mason Plumlee check. Who knows? You know what I mean? But
He's already better than Plumlee though.
I mean, the fact that Mason Plumlee is still in the league is ridiculous to me, and the fact that he got paid this money is even more ridiculous to me. But to each his own.
Yeah.
Athletic, 7'1" will always have a check. As long as you can move, you will always have a check.
I mean, he's not a bad player by any means. He does his role well, but I blame Tristan Thompson. Tristan Thompson started this whole trend of if you do your role well, you'll get played obscene amounts of money. Also, Tristan Thompson to the Celtics, underrated move.
Low-key solid pickup.
Solid pickup. We just don't see much of him because he's in Cleveland, but now because LeBron James is gone. But that's a solid pickup, and that's gonna be like beneficial for them for sure.
Yeah.
What was it?
I think bigs last year. At least not solid ones they could keep on the floor.
They're the white guy.
What I'd asked about Toppin, like y'all said, because I was because kind of like on one hand it's a good pick because like he's a good player. In fairness, the only game I really caught of his was against Kansas, and like he was a problem. Like Kansas won because like their two best players just like took over the game in overtime, but like it was but it's just kind of like y'all said, they have a crap ton of forwards already. It's just like they gotta have something else in mind, or like they should if they have any sense. I'm not sure about the city necessarily being good to him though, for no other reason than like a little while ago I watched a documentary about Marbury, and like going to the city didn't like going to his hometown ain't work out so great for him. Um,
Yeah.
but hopefully, it turns out better for Toppin.
Yeah, Marbury also was like notoriously didn't have discipline. So like he like notoriously. So this guy seems to have discipline. Listen, you gonna be in the draft crying that your home team got you kind of stuff and go in there and play games, then like come on now. Like you're gonna be crying like that, you better go in there work hard. And he's like known to be a hard worker because to get to the point to where he is, he had to work extremely hard. So I have decently high expectations for him, but like I had higher expectations for Kevin Knox, and look where he's at. So
He's still on the Knicks, isn't he?
yeah, he's still on the Knicks, but the fact you have to say he's still on the Knicks, isn't he? Is not good.
I
I
can't
really,
argue with that.
I'm not sure what's up with the Knicks. I think it's the fact that their fan base boos almost every decision that they make, that they internally just self-hate and destroy themselves every year.
So
I mean,
I think this is the thing with the Knicks, right? One, like at this point, no one wants to play for the Knicks because the Knicks are trash. They've been trash for functionally as long as I can remember at this point, except for like 2 years when they had Carmelo and Amari Stoudemire. They've been trash otherwise. All right, so it's like, yeah, it's a big market, and like people like to live like the idea of living in New York, but like nobody wants to play for the Knicks. Dolan is still the owner. All right, and he's been the owner the entire time, and they've been hot garbage the entire time. Um, Besides that, also like their fan base, my understanding is kind of very. I think
ignorant.
ignorant is not the word I'm looking for here. I'm gonna
Oh,
say,
okay.
I mean, like you might not be wrong, but that's not really. I mean, you could probably use the word delusional in terms of like, but like they're not unique in that. But like, I guess kind of hot and cold. Like I guess if like the team is good, they absolutely love the team. But otherwise, like they're just like you suck. Nothing you do is right. You all are terrible players. It doesn't matter the fact that you made an all star. You're hot garbage because the team is trash. And like doesn't like you don't want to deal like players aren't going to want to deal with that. In addition to like playing in a trash organization, like the fan base is trash, the organization is trash. Why would I want to play for them?
I like this passion from you, Cosman. But also in currently, if you want to just play basketball in New York, you can just go to Brooklyn. You know what I mean? Like you like New York, the Knicks aren't the only option. You could literally just go to Brooklyn and play and be like, "Oh, I'm still in New York though," and like they have a better, more recent documented history of winning. They have owners who are willing to spend money, owners who seem to care more about that kind of stuff. And in terms of just like the ownership and the willingness to win, they have like more going for them than the Knicks do, and that's gonna be a hindrance on the Knicks getting anybody for years to come. Like it just started, but for years to come, that's gonna be the thing.
And
Yeah.
Brooklyn knows Jay-Z, so
Yeah, and I'm just like, I don't know. The Knicks just suck. What's a Knickerbocker? You know what I mean? Like, what is that?
look,
Like, they're just garbage to me. Like, as an organization, I just think they were just whack. But also speaking of Brooklyn, James Harden won't be going there. But if he did, that wouldn't work. So
Oh yeah, that reminds me. So what was it? I'm sure like y'all were following along that Harden wants to be traded and Westbrook wants to be traded. Um, and I don't know, these things may or may not be related. Like, what do y'all think about that whole situation?
I think it's a lot of people saying. I think it's a lot of like word of mouth, and some of it might possibly not be true.
Hmm.
But let's say, for instance, it is. I'm not surprised because James Harden can't win there. They don't have the capabilities of winning there. Russell Westbrook, if it's actually true that he wants to leave, he can't blame nobody else. To blame it on himself because he was not looking good last year, like at all. Like he looked less explosive. I don't know if he was hurt, but he looked less explosive. Everything that he did well, he did not do well this past year. Uh,
But
and even
he
when it
still
came
got
to
the numbers
shooting, he
though.
did that worse than anything else also. So I just think that I don't know if it's true if they. I just don't know if it's true if they want to leave or not. I think that's what it is. Because
Okay.
like you have all these people like journalists make up stories. Like no, like it's been known for years that if you got nothing to write about, they would just make something up. Essentially, they have one thing of evidence, and instead of looking for more evidence, they'll go, "Oh, looks like somebody wants to get out of town." You know what I mean? And and nowadays, it's not even like credible evidence. It's like somebody bought a house in another city, or someone likes a certain post on Instagram. Oh, they're trying to get out of here. You know what I mean? So I'm not even sure if that point's true, unfortunately.
I, if I may though, well. Granted, in fairness, I didn't outside of the bubble. I didn't watch Rockets games. Matter of fact, I don't think I even watched the playoff games. But like numbers wise, Westbrook was fine last year. Like he put up what was it? It wasn't a triple double, but it was what 27 points, 7 assists, right at 8 rebounds a game,
Yeah,
and
free
one
throws,
point
he was
six
good.
steals.
Yeah,
Like I mean, his 3 point shooting wasn't good, but it basically never is. So
I think it was more like to me at least, like
mhm.
when I watched them play, it didn't seem synchronized. It didn't seem in sync. It didn't seem, cohesive. Like, yeah, he still got those numbers, but they weren't clean numbers. They weren't as clean as they were in Oklahoma City. And I'm not sure because he wasn't running the team or he had a different position, being the number two option and feeding off somebody else. Because even when KD was there in OKC, KD fed off him. He didn't feed off KD. So I'm not sure if that like kind of had like a mental block on him in some kind of way, shape, or form. But it didn't seem like Chris Paul and James Harden seem much more clean than Westbrook and James Harden, and that's just like the eye test. You know what I mean? That's just from watching it.
Mhm. Well, I think what it might be is that like their play styles, Harden and Westbrook, don't like the thing is like what both of them they can synergize like their play styles can synergize fairly well with other players. Um, but like they wouldn't work. I think this was a concern I think even before the season started. Like they might not necessarily work that well together. It's like they both need the ball, and like the thing is they both need the ball. And Harden will spend a lot of time like doing a bunch of stuff just to like travel into a 3 point shot.
Tune up.
Um, and like Westbrook, like ever since he got in the league, is this thing where it's like he wants to do everything. He wants to do everything all the time. The thing is, while he was in OKC, he got really really good at it. But like I think, and especially like if he's trying to get to a point where like he's competing on like on a championship team with other quality teammates that like aren't like whether they are Super Bowl dominant or not, like he doesn't and probably shouldn't be trying to do everything like he tends to do and tends to want to do.
For sure, for sure.
but I think that's his game. Like in a way, Westbrook is the way he plays is almost like an offense in itself, just because there's going to be so many actions that come off of.
Mm-hmm.
There's like no one person I can think of outside of like Drew Holiday or somebody, Patrick Beverly for that point, that can like stop him like every possession or at least like hold him to something. So
I think one of the things
he
that
can't shoot for real. So it's hard for him to do anything else besides like go do what you can do. Which is
I don't know. I just think I don't like it when players can't change their game in the NBA. And not just like, I'm not saying this changes your game for any kind of reasons. I'm just like adjust your game. You know what I mean? Like adjust your game for the betterment of the team. And I think it bothers me when people can't do that because they're so. It's I don't want to say they're hard headed because I don't know the individuals, but it seems to be hard headed to me that I want the game to adjust to me. I don't want to adjust my game, or I want the team to adjust to me. I don't want to adjust to the team, and that's never a good thing when it comes to winning. And like, yeah, you might make the playoffs. Yeah, you might make it deep in the playoffs, but more than likely you ain't gonna win, like the whole thing. You know what I mean?
I think saying that almost simplifies it to a point because you can't convince me that Russell Westbrook doesn't work on his game or at least is not in the gym. Like you can't convince me like he doesn't have like some sort of work ethic. Like something has to be. Like, I don't know what it is, but you should at this point. Like it's been 12 seasons. You just gotta do what you can do.
But I'm not saying he's gotta adjust.
Athletic dude.
I'm not saying you gotta adjust your game. I'm not saying okay. First of all, I'm not saying like his work ethic's bad. Like I'm not in the I'm not in the gym with that man. I'm saying no, I'm not in the gym with that man. I'm assuming his work ethic's good because he's in the NBA and he's a superstar in the NBA, right? So I'm assuming his work ethic's good. Obviously, like I'm never gonna say a man at that level's work ethic is bad because I'm over here eating chips off my chest. You know what I mean? Like why would I say that? But you don't need to grab every rebound. You don't need to like play on the ball, play off the ball. Like I hated that with Carmelo too for a while. I didn't hate Carmelo Anthony, but I hated that he didn't adjust his game well enough for other teams. He's still the ISO player with the ball with his hands too much, but he's done it much better. He's done it much better with Portland than he did all the other teams. But and we see the results of that. Let's just say that we see the results of him adjusting. And like, why did he need to seemingly become a journeyman and he need to get knocked out the league or blackballed out the league, whatever, for a year for him to come back and do that? Like, it's unfortunate. Like he should, first of all, he shouldn't be out of the league for a year, right? Like, there's no ifs or buts about that. He should have been in the league because man, he could have played for. I don't know, what's a trash team? He could have played for the Hornets. You know what I mean? He could have played for the Hornets. He could like easily. Like he could have got buckets, but for political reasons, he was out the league for a year. But when he comes back, you do see an adjustment in his game to where it was less of me, ISO, and more of fluidity of the game. Let's say that, and he let other people just take over it and flow into the rhythm.
I'll leave you with a philosophical question. What is there to change when your game is your game?
Was that supposed to be deep?
No, it's not supposed to be deep.
Okay.
This is like a question to ponder on. Like, what is
okay.
It is what it is.
I'm all right. Thinking about Westbrook for a second, and like I'm gonna try and come back to that. That's a very odd question, but like I think the thing with Westbrook and like why it might be hard for him to change his game, right? Is it like I think this might be a good way to describe it. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but like he's the ultimate hustle player, if you will. Like I have to assume, given the kind of stats he'll put up, that he basically likes playing the entire game, pretty much, right? So like he gives 110% every time, and in that 110%, there's a lot of skill there, and so like he puts up crazy numbers and does everything, but like, and so like, and like one of the issues with trying to change his game, like if I'd imagine if you're the coach is like, you almost have to be you basically have to go up to a dude, right? After preaching, you got to hustle and do all the dirty stuff and whatever. And like, got to be comfortable with an ugly and this, that, and the third and be like, hustle less. And not only is that a weird hill to have to die on, right? But like, it basically undermines everything any player has ever been like told to do for their entire life playing basketball. And so as a coach or what have you, it's just a weird spot to be in with Westbrook. It's kind of like you need to like do less or at least like focus your energies on certain things more than others. Like you said, you don't necessarily need to like try and grab every rebound because like you on the fast break is kind of serious. Um, but like you're trying to do everything and to force stuff sometimes is not helping you win. Like,
Well, no, that you're saying that makes me curious about this question that came to mind.
mhm.
The more successful a basketball player gets, right? Do they become less coachable because of them reaching that position? Because you know, to get to that level, you have to be coachable. But then once let's use Westbrook as an example. But then once you get to the NBA and you've been doing a one thing essentially, right? Hustling extra hard and being that guy for 12 years, do you become less coachable because it's ingrained into you at that point?
So I think what it is, right,
Is that a
is that
possibility?
I don't necessarily think it's that you're less coachable. One, I think it's like, of course, this like you get to the NBA and it's like it's grown men now, and like
League.
grown men aren't going to behave the same as like college kids or high school kids. Um, but also like I think one of the things like when you get successful, like when you have that success with like your game and whatever, is just like part of the sell of getting someone to change their game is is like to be more successful, but it's like but like there's a part of them that's like doing this is what got me here.
Stuck in
And
your ways, right?
hmm,
Stuck in your
well,
way,
I
essentially.
think that's more of a thing like as players get older, like as they like reach about the end of their prime, roughly like mid 30s or like not mid 30s, but like when they hit 30ish, is like it's like the thing is like, and like it's not necessarily them. You'll see it in like real life too. It's like the thing is while change is not always easy, change like you can like a player can always adjust their game. Like and a person can always kind of adjust their behavior. It's not necessarily the easiest thing to do, but one of the issues with trying to do that for a lot with a lot of people is getting past that block of I am who I am. Which especially with like basketball is like one of those things that gets kind of emphasized for players. Like at a certain point, like everybody talks about he's just kind of like what you got now is like all you're really gonna get. Like he is who he is. Like there is no improvement. There's no change in the game. He is who he is. And like I think people in general tend to like buy into the whole notion of when they reach a certain point they aren't going to be able to change.
It's so situational too, right? Because it could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing, literally just depending on what situation you're in. And when I say that, like, yeah, LeBron James won a championship this year, right? Like playing the way LeBron James has played for how long's he been in the league? 17 years. Like LeBron James won a championship this year, but but you can make an argument because LeBron James played like LeBron James that he stifled the growth of the team he had in Los Angeles before Anthony Davis got there. And you can kind of see that for how they thrived when they got to New Orleans. Like you can make that argument that it's a good thing or it's a bad thing, but I think it just depends on what the priorities are, right? LeBron James' priorities weren't to make them better. Because if it was making them better, he would play more off the ball. But LeBron James doesn't play off the ball. LeBron James plays on the ball. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, you're like, well, we can put LeBron James as a point guard. You heard all that, rhetoric after, whatever. And I think it's situational because if LeBron James doesn't get Anthony Davis, that I'm personally still saying that, and that rhetoric is still out there of LeBron James needs to change his game to help elevate his teammates, but he ended up, because of good ownership and good coach or good GMs, that he was put into a different situation to where LeBron James could be LeBron James and be successful. So I think that's when GMs and owners like really need to be at their best to put their players in the best situations, so you don't have conversations about this and because you're essentially making players like Russell Westbrook, for example, look bad because you're surrounding them or you're putting them in situations to where you're questioning their ability more than the team around them. Does that make sense? Or the situation they're in, I guess.
Mm-hmm. All right. I think that. Well, one, I disagree. Like, I think LeBron's changed his game over time. Like, LeBron of this year.
Added to his game.
I don't know, probably some of both. Like, it's kind of like one, like something I saw recently. Like, one of the things with LeBron is like he literally just wasn't like in the bubble and what have you. Like, he was literally he wasn't running around as much. One, and which is just an adjustment he's made because like he's getting older. Conserve your energy, pick your spots, right? Which is just like a smart thing to do. But like even if I say that, I'm not necessarily like it's not necessarily like he's necessarily changed to accommodate other people. It's kind of like it's more of changes to continue doing some version of what you've always done. But I'm in fairness, I'm not really sure how much he got in the way of those young players' development, but like he probably didn't help.
I mean, the only reason I say that is if you look at them now, are any of those players catch and shoot players? No. LeBron James had the ball in his hands too much in those situations, like during that time span, year and a half, 2 years, whatever it was. Like LeBron James had the ball in his hands too much, and he needed to get the ball. He needed to play off the ball more, and like that was a that was a decent consensus amongst smart basketball fans at the time. But once again, he wasn't in that situation long enough to where people question, or the general public, I would say, questioned like his mental fortitude or his intellect or his basketball IQ. It's not to intellect, his basketball IQ. You know what I mean? So like it's interesting that we are even having this conversation about Westbrook, and it's probably a good thing that he might get traded or whatever to put him in a situation to be more successful. Like put Westbrook in a situation to where these conversations don't happen. Because in OKC, these conversations weren't happening because he was able to do his thing. Russell Westbrook's not a tier 1 or tier 2 player. He's not a B player. He's an A player, a tier 1 player who needs to run a team. That's what he is. That's what's in him. So instead of putting him in situations to where we're over here saying, he needs to adjust his game, or can he adjust his game? Just the questioning of can he adjust his game, he needs to be in a situation to where his game thrives.
So the Clippers.
But the thing is, I don't think he would thrive as a Clipper because Paul George could play off of him. Can Paul George win off of him? No. But Paul George can play off of him. You know what I mean? I say win. I mean like championship, not like win.
I'm like it's not like they did it last year.
I know, but then I don't think Kawhi, which if Russell Westbrook on that team, Kawhi is the number 1 player. Like he is. I don't think Kawhi in a team that Kawhi is on needs a point guard like Russell Westbrook. Like I think they need different. Like Russell Westbrook, like we said, is an ultimate hustle player. He will get points, rebounds, assists. He will do everything. Kawhi teams where he's successful, they have individuals who do certain things, right? They have individuals who know their own games and stick to their spots. You know what I mean? Like they're centers. They act like centers. The point guards, they act like point guards. The power forwards, they act like he's never won on a team where everybody's doing too much. The issue that I think they had last year is that one, I think they took a lot of the grind of like the regular season. I think they take a lot for granted. Let's just say that. I think they took a lot for granted. And I also think that they had a lot of players who just didn't know their role. They want like I was listening to Gilbert Arenas' podcast, and he was like, when you look at the Clippers at the end of the game, who's taking the final shot? You want to say Kawhi, but a lot of times Kawhi didn't take the shot at the end of the game, and that's one example of people knowing. That's one example of people knowing their roles. You know what I mean? And I just think that the Clippers didn't know enough of their roles last year in terms of role players. So I don't think Westbrook is like the answer, I guess. But Westbrook probably needs to. Honestly, Westbrook probably. I don't. If I had to think about it off the top of my head real quickly, I don't know the perfect situation for Westbrook in 2020. Like right now, I don't know the perfect situation for him to be the most successful. I think a lot of the situations on NBA teams are kind of the same. Like not necessarily the same, but like they have a direction they're going in, and I don't know where Westbrook could just be placed there, and all of a sudden, boom, they're getting better. Like if Drew Holiday wasn't in Milwaukee, you could make the argument for Milwaukee, but they got Drew Holiday now, and he's gonna defensively. He makes way more sense than what Westbrook does. You know what I mean? So I'm not quite sure where he could just be dropped off and it'd be like a automatic benefit. Obviously, and I'm not talking about like the Hornets or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm talking about like teams that actually matter.
Right.
It all depends on what you measure success by. Because if you're talking about winning a championship, that margin is very slim.
Yeah.
I mean, last thing is, Westbrook championship. Like Westbrook's successful. Westbrook is championship. Westbrook's been in the league long enough, and he's had enough success that he can't just like successful. A Westbrook team is not first round of the playoffs or make the playoffs, first round of the playoffs, or the final, or the Western Conference Finals or Eastern Conference Finals. It's the finals. Like Westbrook needs to win a chip, especially since he's already been there. You know what I mean? Harden, same thing. Harden needs to win a championship. Like KD already did, even though people don't like the way he did it, including me. He did at the end of the day. You know what I mean? He at the end of the day he won a championship. But these guys are on that same level, just needs to win a championship. So anything under that is not a success.
That's fair. Quick question. I saw something that suggested that the Nuggets were thinking about using Bol as a 3. What are your thoughts?
Sign me up, baby.
You said sign you up?
Sign me up. Sign me up. Hear me out.
It would be a spectacle, right?
That's why I'm always here. Sign me up for it. I want to see the Giant do it. He showed that he could do it in like small spurts during the bubble. As a 3, we've already seen the shot creation. I want to see Bol try it.
Great.
We've been watching Bobo do this on like lower circuits for almost 10 years. I want to see him try it. I just want to see him try
He
it.
was doing it in the bubble when like people were resting for the playoffs. So for the playoffs hit, he didn't get no clock.
Mhm.
Just want to see him try it. That's it.
I'm fine with it. Are they trying to win? I'm not sure it's a good idea. But if they want to just have like a fun time and like have the fans have a fun time,
It's 75. It's a 75 game season.
So,
At least 10 games is about having fun. It's about trying stuff. Come on, bro.
win a championship like the Nuggets, man. The Nuggets are different.
No, it's 75 games. You don't need to win all 75 to win a championship.
The Nuggets need to work as hard as they can to win a championship.
Yeah. If you can maximize Bobo, or he just like figures it out, where he can get you a consistent 10 points a game with that size, he would be useful. I don't see it happen. You need to listen to me. Bobo, I understand that Bobo is a project. Let him get his confidence, even if it does not work as a 3. Let him get his confidence off. Even if we have to move him to the 4, if he has those skills, come on, guys. What are we doing?
Alan,
We not playing this game.
Alan, think about some of the small forwards in the NBA. he's not gonna gain no confidence playing against these dudes because they gonna kill him.
Shut up, Philip. I know that. Like
They gonna kill this
happen
man.
to people, bro. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
You know, you're saying
Stop.
how this man
He's going to get beat up at the 4 too.
Listen,
He's
you
going
saying,
to get up at every position. He's a boy.
but
gotta
at least he's not getting cooked by people his own age.
Yes.
Like, he getting cooked by if he plays a 4, he's getting cooked way less than at the 3. At the 4, he's getting cooked by LeBron James, arguably the greatest player of all time. Carmelo Anthony.
Why would you put him? But you would not put Bol to guard LeBron James.
No.
Doesn't make sense.
LeBron James would. But the issue is LeBron James. Look, if it's a regular if it's a regular season, Alan, if it's a regular season game, we know LeBron in the last 4 years, he ain't playing no defense, so he can be like, all right, I guess I guard Bo, and he gonna make him look crazy still. Like he's still gonna make him look crazy because he knows he's gonna have a break.
They did not say start him at the 3. He will be the main 3. He said they will play him at the 3. They got to play the Knicks. They got to play the Hornets. They got to play boo-boo teams. Let him play the 3 against them boo-boo teams and get his confidence up.
Gordon Hayward will cook this man. And I don't even like Gordon Hayward like that, but Gordon Hayward would definitely cook
backing up Gordon Hayward?
Huh?
Who's backing up Gordon Hayward?
Do you know the answer to this, or
I don't know the answer?
I was like, okay,
I'll not Bol dry gets the dude we don't know.
We'll see. He's just so skinny that I don't know where you could put him at.
See,
exactly. Why are you trying to put him at the 4?
So here's this. I'm more interested to see how it works out than I was when I asked the question. But like, if we're being real about it, yeah, he's too. Like the thing is, he's like too skinny and also a bit too much of a big man to really work perfectly at any spot. You put him at the center, he's going to get himself hurt. You put him at the 4, he's going to get himself hurt. You put him at the 3, he's still probably going to get himself hurt, but he might get some blocks.
No, you put a 3, he'll get his ankles. Listen, can you imagine Bol trying to guard Jason Tatum? He will get his ankles snatched.
Why do you think he's guarding Jason Tatum?
What?
Why do you think why do you think they're gonna play him against Jason Tatum at the 3? That's a terrible matchup.
At some point, he's gonna have to switch on this.
You think he's playing against the Celtics?
At some point, he has to switch on.
The Celtics in the heat of the game. You really think they're gonna put him against the Celtics?
Who from the Celtics is guarding Bobo?
Wait, you said who from the Celtics is guarding Bobo?
Yes.
Bro,
all the Celtics big men are not mobile enough. It's an issue.
He's not worried about offense.
Thompson would be the 4, and he's not mobile enough to guard him.
I would make an argument. Okay, question.
That's when you put
because I haven't seen Bol play like that, and like in my last evaluation of seeing him, he was in like college, I think I caught a couple games. Was like I didn't like people talk about his ball handling. I didn't like it. I've now recently figured out why I didn't like it. Because he doesn't get down on the ball, it should actually be fairly easy to pick him if someone mans up on him on the outside. But like, dang, what was I even trying to say? There was a point I was getting at. But like the thing is, like, part of the issue with Bol really playing any of the spots that he is qualified for, where he won't get himself absolutely embarrassed, or like. Just like picked off immediately and give some dude an open lane to the goal, is that like crap? I can't remember what I'm trying to say for the life of me right now.
So you had a lot of filler words trying to figure yourself out real quick. So I noticed that.
It's like I had a point somewhere. I lost it fairly early in the process.
Filler words and trying to figure your point out as you were going along, and then you just couldn't get it. That's funny. That's funny.
Oh yeah, like the thing is that. Even a lot of the dudes as the backups at these positions are much bigger and stronger than him. Like they're not taller than him. Very few players are, but like they can bully him. They can bully him either like just go through him or go around him. And like I could be wrong. I don't think he can play perimeter defense. And like I'm not sure, especially at the 3, if he has the athleticism to like come back and get somebody who's beating him off the dribble. Now maybe I'm not giving enough credit.
He can't do that against the upper crust.
Okay.
Like we talk about like a top 20 starter in at the 3. No, probably not.
Ain't do it. Ain't that. It's not.
That's
Yeah.
for his sake. I kind of hope he lives in the weight room for like the next 2 years.
Listen, he's lived in the weight room for the last 2 years, and you can see no difference. like
Did he get stronger though? Which is a question I don't have the answer to.
I don't know, because when you watched him play this past season, especially in the bubble times, well, of course in the bubble times, other times playing G League, but in the bubble time, he didn't play. He played like how he plays. He's super finesse. Like he plays like he's from Europe in 2003. Like he don't have any kind of aggression to his game or any kind of physicality to his game. He's just a big man who was allowed to shoot a lot of threes growing up, it looked like, and then he stuck to that, which that blame can be placed on anybody, because he's good at his excuse me, he's good at it. He's good at it in middle school, good at it in high school, good at it in college. But then, like, if you're true about it and want to go to NBA, that wasn't going to translate as easy as every other level before that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. He's going to be fine in the NBA, but if he doesn't change certain things up in his game and or get more physical or have more of a physical presence, I'll say, then he might end up being a journeyman. He won't be he won't be in the G League or whatever. You know what I mean? Because he's too skilled for that. But in the league, he might. I don't think he's most successful on the Nuggets in the first place. I just think that he happened to fall to the Nuggets or fall so low the Nuggets couldn't help but take him. To be perfectly honest, in the draft. But I think at some point he's gonna be most successful on a different team.
I feel like his most successful on a different team is not going to be because he isn't good. It's going to be because the Nuggets are just too deep for him to really get some shots.
Too deep.
So here's the thing though. I would think like on a in an ideal world with the Nuggets, Bull gets to a point where like he's good enough to start alongside the other dudes we tend to think about when we think about the Nuggets. That said, it would require him to like add, even if he doesn't add much weight, he like adding strength, which probably means he needs to hit up whoever like helped KD. But like, because the thing is, I think he has a kind of skill set where he can play with and off of all of those other dudes, even if he's not necessarily the guy. But and like I think I've mentioned at some point before, but like I think his passing is better than people like give it credit for. Like I'd never really seen people talk about it. And so like in that respect, like he might be able to be just fine with the Nuggets. Now if you want to see him like put up like 20 and 10 or something, he's gonna have to go to another team. Like consistently, like he's gonna have to go to another team. Like that's not optional. The Nuggets already have their biggest players, which isn't to say like he couldn't come in and like do that in one random season or something. But like it's just like they already have Murray and Jokic and Michael Porter Jr., who, if he figures defense out, will be able to consistently start games, and they might start him anyway.
Michael Porter Jr. is gonna be like one. He's a better fit for the Nuggets than Bobo, but two, Michael Porter Jr. is gonna legitimately be he's gonna be an all-star player in the NBA if he stays healthy. Like, obviously, right? But he's he's nice, and he's like, and he has more of a position, offensively and defensively if he gets if he just wants to play defense, right? Than Bobo. Michael Porter Jr. is like the Nuggets just have so many nice players. Is a thing, but they're just a little too deep.
Well, that's fair, but I think they also let Torrey Craig walk as well.
He did too.
I think they just didn't have the money for him or something. I think I saw. But like, also I think Porter Jr. will get like at least halfway decent on defense, if for another reason than because in the bubble it looked like he cared about defense. He was hot garbage at it, but he tried. And like you can like that's a good starting point. Um, oh yeah, they also got what's it, RJ Hampton, I think. Like they traded for him
They did.
out, out the draft, which is just adds to the whole depth and whatever. Um, and like he's probably gonna get minutes. He's not gonna start, of course, but you don't need him to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, but it'll like seeing Bull like play whatever position will be fun if nothing else. Hopefully, he doesn't get himself hurt. Um, but it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Um, also, like, wait, I want to be like the college season's about to start up, but like a bunch. I'm also aware that a bunch of games got can't like openers got canceled and stuff.
I got an email from KU today, and they were or no, I didn't get email. KU sent out a tweet talking about the attendance for the games, all kind of stuff, and how I don't know if every other team's doing it this way, but they're not going to have any fans until they know for a fact they're not having any fans until the first week or even including the first week of December. Then after that, they're going to go week by week because I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with the news, but like the COVID vaccines, now all of a sudden they got 3 of them that are.
There's a third one.
There's a third one that came out today from Oxford. Because obviously, when one came out, there's going to be more that came after that because they're going to follow the blueprint of that first one. And a third one came out from Oxford like today or yesterday or something like that. And they're all at this moment in like the trials 90% and above, one being 95%. And with that being the case, and it seems like the what does it say? Health officials might get their turn for the vaccine first, obviously, in like mid-December. So with that being the case, a lot of these, colleges are paying close attention to that. And so they're just doing it week by week now instead of saying, this month we're not doing anything or, this 2 weeks we're not doing anything. So I know K's doing it like that, but I'm not sure if any other school is.
What was it? I think I saw something. Rick Barnes, the coach at Tennessee, got COVID. I don't think he's even the only person, only like basketball person I've heard of about like having COVID.
State had it.
Oh yeah, Izzo had it.
There was another big time coach that had it too recently.
I'm drawing a blank on that. I'm sure, and I might have just missed it, but I can't think of it right now. But it's okay for college season to the degree that like there's going to be one, given like the pandemic. Like what are y'all looking forward to?
My biggest thing is always actually is the Big 12 in general. I'm excited to see what Kansas looks like. This is the first time that they've had a roster where they have like the returning guys, but I can't think of like just one solid big name from Kansas. Philip, can you think of somebody who's supposed to just be like that dude from Kansas this year?
No, they had a lot of high-level recruits, or like 2 high-level recruits, one being from Kansas City himself, and another one being he played for Mocan. I think he's from Columbia or something like that.
Bryce Thompson. No.
Yeah. So they have but they're KU's gonna be KU. They're gonna be in the top 5. They're gonna do really well, and they might have some people leave next year. But like, there's no one that's like I'm hearing that's like the standout guy. The Josh Jackson, whatever. You know what I mean?
But I'm super excited to see what the Big 12 turns out, and specifically Kansas, because I've always been a Kansas fan. But Oklahoma State is going to be crazy this year with K8. They've had like 2 or 3 really good recruiting classes back to back. They just got a ton of talent. Texas Tech is bringing in their best recruiting class ever, and depending on
how the guys have a season this year, all of them are coming back next year, and we're talking about like a bunch of top 50 dogs. And then Baylor is going to be like super solid coming back off not getting it done in March because of COVID. So I just think that like 3-horse race right there is going to be solid. So Big 12 country, babe. Let's go.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not specifically looking forward to anything for the college season. I'm more of the mindset they shouldn't be playing at all until everything's,
I mean, yeah.
corrected. So with that being the case, I'm not really looking forward to anything. So I haven't really been paying. Also, I haven't really been paying much attention to what's like going into the college season. What's like the expectations for like certain teams and certain colleges. I say teams, certain colleges and all kind of stuff. So I think it'd just be an interesting. I think all basketball is just going to be an interesting thing to see happen, right? Especially post bubble, like what's going to happen. And they're already talking about having the NCAA tournament in one city, in Indianapolis. So, and that's like they're not definitely going to have it there, but they're probably going to have it there. Is the talk right now. So I think just seeing how the infrastructure of how this season's going to be is going to be really interesting to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I completely understand it. Like, they really shouldn't be playing. Neither should football. But, that's just basically sailed at this point. But like as far as stuff I'm looking forward to since like it's already happening anyway. Like, I like Gonzaga. I don't know why. I just kind of do. I think it's because like they're kind of a mid-major. Like they don't really function as one at this point, but like they kind of like if Mark Few were to disappear today or tomorrow, Gonzaga probably falls back to mid-major, like almost overnight.
Like Butler.
I mean, kind of, yeah. I mean, fair Butler
or suspect VCU.
I mean, Butler tends to stay halfway decent though, but like it's that whole thing, that really players commit to coaches more so than schools.
Yeah.
But like in fairness, I don't know that much about this team because most of the players I was familiar with have gone pro at some point. But like I would like to see Gonzaga get a chip. But them of Memphis, of course. Bringing in Musa Cisse, DJ Jeffries is gonna be older and he's basically instant offense. Like it's gonna be a good team. Fam because like I would like to see Fam do well. Howard because they have McCore Maker or however that's pronounced.
Yeah.
And like that's just gonna be fun to see unfold. Entertainment value and all that. Let's see who else.
Jalen Suggs is another one to watch at Gonzaga though.
Okay, yeah, didn't they have a pretty solid recruiting class?
Yeah, top 15 in the nation. Jalen Suggs is gonna be that dude.
Dang it, who else? I know there was like one or two more teams. I'm interested in like how Iona does, just because Rick Pitino is there.
Yeah.
And like that should be an interesting thing to watch over the next couple of years, as like he builds that program up. And hopefully folks don't get COVID, but like the ship's kind of already sailed.
Have you had it?
Oh yeah.
No.
Have you had it, Alan?
No.
I'm talking about. Wait, have you?
No. Like I'm just curious. Have you had it?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Me neither. I've been tested twice.
Yeah. UConn girls shut down today though, because outbreaks.
Well, there shouldn't be sports.
It shouldn't, bro. I don't like. Before I came here, I was watching a high school basketball game with like 10 Division I recruits, and I feel weird watching it. Like I'm super excited to be watching basketball, but I'm just not sure. And I know for a fact, at least one of those kids had COVID.
It just shouldn't be like sports are too much of a business, so it was gonna happen. but it should like business shouldn't be the measuring stick. Making money shouldn't be the measuring stick. It should be, these kids are playing against each other, yes, but these kids also got to go home. You don't know what their home's like. You don't know if their parents have pre-existing conditions. You don't know if they live with their grandparents who are older. You don't know if they live with older aunt. You don't know their situations at all. But just because like the kids just shouldn't be playing, and it's not just kids. Adults shouldn't be playing either. The government should have stepped in, had some kind of stipends for people to, you can't play. The school won't be making this much money, so here's a little bit of money, whatever. But most schools have enough money, so this 1 year wouldn't make too much of a difference anyways. But like that, ideally that's how it should have worked. But everybody treats everything. When I say everybody, I mean like people in charge. Too many people of that status treat everything as a business and things, and that's not a good thing. And that's been exposed through this virus, and it's irritating to me.
Yeah.
And this is a guy who coaches middle school, so.
I believe we want to talk a little about some high school stuff.
If you still want to run through some prospects that you want to talk about,
I will. I'll make it quick, mostly because like we've talked plenty. I guess first off, there are a couple high school games on ESPN, like 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
And I caught them. It was interesting. Let's see. What are the words I would like to use here? No, it's just like part of me is like pick it carefully, but also I'm trying not to get names wrong, which I'll probably will at some point anyway. But it was because there's a game Chet Holmgren was and his team played against Amani Bates. And like that was my first time actually seeing Amani Bates, and like I don't like hype. I don't like hype because like you will hear hype and like it almost doesn't matter like how good the player is. You will see them, and to a certain degree they will disappoint. Which isn't even to say like someone will be bad. You can be amazing, but like you will hear the hype and it's just you'll see the player and like even if you're like I understand the hype, it's kind of like this doesn't quite line up. And I felt a little bit of that with Bates. Not that he's not good. He was kind of serious, and they kept emphasizing this is kind of a bad game in a game where he put up 35. And I'm just like, if this is a bad game, good lord. But and what him and his team lost because his teammates didn't show up as much as Holmgren's did. Holmgren, in case someone is unaware, is one of I guess depending on where you look, one of the top 2 recruits out of the 2021 class. He is 7 feet tall, apparently under 200 pounds.
He is a boy. He's tiny.
But like, he can play.
I have to say, I am not high on Chet as a NBA prospect because mainly I'm not a big fan of his body. He's really small, and I do not know how much muscle you can put on a frame that small. Just like looking at his shoulders, he's not wide, but that may be the most productive player in the country. Just like every time he comes out, bro. No, have you seen Chet? Look at Chet.
All I do, right?
Super game. Super game.
All I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can.
Yeah, he's been like pretty he's been presented at a high level for a couple years now.
Yeah, and every time he's played on national, played on big stages, he produces, and I like that. Like I'm talking about like crazy numbers, but 7'1" and you're really good and you're agile, you are going to have those numbers. I think he's going to be really good in college. Just really interested to see how that body translates to NBA. He's a senior.
He's going where?
I think he's still undecided, right?
He probably going to Kentucky.
My
Law.
knowledge, yeah.
I don't know if he's going to Kentucky.
He might choose G League.
According to
I can see him going. I can see him
24/7,
dude.
the teams he seems like he's most likely going to go to are Gonzaga, Michigan, and Minnesota for some reason.
Minnesota.
Yeah. If I had to lean, I think he's going to Minnesota. That's like where he's from, and I think like being close to home but still having a college experience is going to be super important to that kid.
There's something valuable in that.
Because he got family and stuff who that's a tad bit older. I believe he like lives with his grandma, so I think that's going to be super important, especially with COVID and whatnot.
If I have to describe him for you, Phil, like he plays how people say Bol plays.
People say. No. I know the kid. I've seen him play before, and he plays just like that. And people love. I mean, that body type, that style, is getting got put on by KD essentially, right? And people are in love with that style because House of Highlights has them on their Instagram and all kind of stuff. But when you're talking about actual basketball people and will it produce in the long run, then that's a completely different question. I don't know.
I'm saying I have a bit more confidence in him filling his frame out than Allen does. I don't think he'll ever be like massive. Like if you were hoping to turn him into like a football player or like a bodybuilder for some reason, I don't really think that's gonna happen. But like he could fill out, like he can get stronger like KD did, and like he'll be fine. He's more of a like while he has like those perimeter skills and like part of why, and like I was saying, like I realized why I didn't like how Bol handled the ball is because it was Chet Holmgren gets down on the ball when he dribbles. Like more like fundamental ball handling type stuff. But he's got more of a he does kind of have a big man's game, even though like he can hit those threes and take people off the dribble. But like he's also fairly comfortable like down low. He just doesn't really need to be there. He also is a teammate who's like 5'9", who's automatic from three, which helps everything.
Yeah.
Who else was it? Jaden Hardy.
Hey, Jaden Hardy.
He's a problem.
Hey, that's high school basketball's Dame Lillard, bro.
That's fair. Dang it, let me see if I can find. Because he is a teammate who's a point guard who I like his game a lot because like during that entire game he was all the hustle plays and all the defense. He was in there. He saved balls just to throw throw outlet passes for the breakaway dunk or something, and it's just he never stopped playing. It was beautiful. But
Frankie Collins.
Who?
Frankie Collins. He's going to Michigan.
Yes. And what? Like Hardy, just he makes shots. Like he's a bit like I guess he's been working like there's like he worked on his frame, so like he's a bit like he's not just like super skinny or anything. But like he's kind of a problem. On the other side of the ball there was Armani Bailey. Like it was like the team was younger in general, but it was like Armani Bailey, Chance Westry. What was the big man's name? Crap. But they also had Bronny James. It was like they kind of just got outplayed. Like not even in like their bad way, but like they're younger and it kind of showed.
Yeah.
And Bailey is also kind of a problem, though not like Hardy is. Because like he can fill it up quickly too. He's a pretty solid passer. Westry, I've mentioned him before. He's just I'm kind of high on him. Like they had him off ball a lot. I kind of think like wherever he goes next level, he'd be better off playing point guard. That's just my personal take, I guess. But like, it's also like he's 6'4" and you're 6'6". You kind of have to go on the wing. Um, but because he's a really good passer and he can find a way to score. Um, but again, Hardy just he won the game for his team. Just it shot after shot, pretty much. Um, what? Oh, and there was a game with what's his name? Mikey Williams. Uh,
Yeah.
Mikey Williams, that's that kid who says he's going to HBCU, right?
so that's him.
Okay. I hope he sticks to his word, but he also is 15, so we'll see.
I let that man have his day when that happened.
I don't. Well, maybe it's just because a lot of the kid players I was looking at were older than him, I believe. But like at least in the one game I saw, granted, I think he was playing against like what was it like Oak Hill or something.
Yeah.
Um, so they are kind of a anyway. Um, it's like I probably need to look at him more.
Are you talking about Mikey?
Yeah, like I don't think he's bad or anything. I just again maybe it's just the whole hype thing, and it's just like you get a bad impression of what stuff is supposed to like how players are supposed to like how good players are in terms of like where they're actually at and not just like maybe relative to other players or what have you. I don't know.
I'm just always weary of high school players who are considered like that guy or that one in like the ninth grade, because very few sports can you do that with and be successful. And like soccer is like the only one really, where you can like predict somebody's like career or how
Mhm.
good they're gonna be from such a young age. And I've seen it way more times in basketball where that turns out to not be the case than it turns out to be the case.
I
I'm always worried about it.
I mean I don't think it really applies to soccer too much either, but like for different reasons in basketball. Um, but I mean like
I mean, I don't say it's soccer because it's like a known thing in soccer, in Europe kind of stuff, that like they will recruit a kid and they will have their eye on a kid when the kid's like 11 because they can like tell. I'm not soccer, I'm not soccer fazan, but like I have cousins who are like really big in it, like the soccer world, and like they can tell from a very young age, like certain ways, kind of stuff, that kid's gonna be good, and more times than not, that kid actually turns out to be good at an older age. But like basketball is not the exact same way, so I'm always weary about you know, them talking about 14-year-olds and how they're going to be this, that, whatever. Because I've seen way more times where it's just not the case than when it is.
Yeah. If you ever notice, they don't say they're going to be NBA stars. They'll say things like with Amani Bates, they're the best prospect that we've seen since LeBron James. Like it's like sugarcoating like around the corner, but like that Mikey Williams game, that was just like a really bad game for him. Like I want to say they did something with the border league probably like 2 weeks or so, maybe like a month before that, and Mikey Williams looked a lot better there. Like all the stuff that you like see from like the highlights,
mhm.
that's kind of like how he plays. Like it's a lot of athleticism, it's a lot of go. I think like a underrated part of his game is how good of a passer he is. And it's really like in transition that you can see it, but like him in the half court, like he understands how to manipulate defenses and whatnot. Like the highlight stuff is the highlight stuff, but it's a lot more cerebral than that. And then he has a teammate who's also a sophomore, Trey Green.
Mhm.
I don't know how
Oh yeah, I liked him,
Trey Green a problem, bro.
but at least in that one game, like he was trying to force too much. Like he was trying to score more than he probably should have. But I like this game though.
Yeah.
Like there's like both of them are gonna probably like they're gonna be just fine.
Oh yeah.
In news stuff that wasn't televised, um, I looked at the Rocky Top Hoop Fest a couple weeks ago. So real quick, Moravian Prep. I'm hoping I pronounced that correctly. Just
Great Moravian all the same.
well, it's the whole team looks pretty good. Like, um, and there was okay. So what one player, and like I think he's got offers from among other places. I think like Clemson and Auburn. Corey Richardson. Like his finishes around the rim are just very very satisfying to watch. Like it all just looks super easy. Like it leaves his fingers and it looks like there was no real effort put in. Um, but like what he was also like he's also fairly athletic, solid in transition, decent passing, but also just like the team in general is pretty solid at passing. Um, like their front court is a Jaquez Schuler and a Cornelius Williams. One is it's like 7 feet and like 6'10" respectively. They're very good big men. Williams is more like passing and whatever, not like he's probably not about to try and like do a chase down block. Um, well, no, correction. Schuler will not do that. Williams, he might. Um, like you might want to look at them. I like really the whole team is fairly noteworthy if I'm honest. Um, and then like Life Christian Academy has a uh a, an Akechi Shantalu. I probably messed up both. Actually, I probably messed up both names.
Yeah.
I think he's committed to Iona. He's mostly those players like they're mostly an athlete.
Yeah.
Like there's a little bit of skill there, but like most of what you do is like you can like outrun and out jump people. That's kind of him at the moment. Um, he's also kind of like how I described what Lawson a couple of times, where it's like you can see like a couple of like putting on some like getting it in the gym will like help his game like under the bar and everything. Not as much as Lawson because of the whole like not as much skill, but it's similar. And another player, Kennard Richardson, he his shooting is solid. He can get to the rim, got good ball handling, really good passing. Actually, kind of struggles to finish at the rim, but like he'll also like stay with his own shot. So like, and which is probably more helpful at high school than it will be whenever he goes to college. Just because in college there'll be dudes 6'9" and 6'10" who are going to stay with his shot with him. Um, but like I think I also saw him because they played Moravian and he kind of struggled a little bit against like those more athletic guards. Um, but yeah, that's most of what I have to report at the moment. So
Okay, cool. All right. I just really just followed the Pango circuit for like the past month or so. So, but the latest event that I covered was the All American Festival, and so we were talking about like 30 of the top seniors or so out there. I just talk about like 5 that really caught my eye. Paulo Banchero, the person I like as the number 1 player for the class of 2021. Anytime you got a dude that's like built well at 6'9" that can create his own shot and looks like he can play both forward positions, sign me up. At times he looked like he could do the point forward thing, so I'm all into that. Nolan Hickman, who's going to Kentucky. We're talking about like 6'3" Tyler Eulis, bro. Like that's the only thing I could think of while I was watching this game. It was like so smooth, could get a shot off when he wanted, like dropping stuff off, and just like a beautiful mid-range game. Alex Fudge, out of Jacksonville, Florida. Just a big time athlete. We're talking about like 6'8", scoring at all 3 levels, and it's like raw athleticism is like really pushing him. Like he is skilled, but he's just kind of doing whatever he wants, and I think there's going to be a lot of upside there. And then Caden Perry, y'all know what it's like when you bro. Caden Perry's like 6'8", 230. And he's just a wrecking ball. Like all he does is finish at the rim. He's stronger than you. He's gonna out rebound you. He's gonna make you look bad. And then Michael Foster, top 10 in the country, plays in Arizona. Just barrel chest, 6'9" dude, and he is going to dunk everything through your chest, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. And that's exactly what he did the entire game. And then top 5 in the country, Jabari Smith. Dude just reminds me of Rashard Lewis. Like 6'10", can really space the floor, good rebounder. Just like a solid overall athlete. He was committed to Auburn, but y'all see what happened to Auburn today. So we can see what's up there. I could see him being another dude that takes like that G League contract if Auburn does not work out.
Mason Miller just committed to Creighton.
Cool.
Yeah, that's it. I don't have any more to comment about it. Like, he's like a 6'9" forward. Like he can play a little bit, even though it like took me a couple games to see it. So good get and all that, and of course, he can probably like he should be develop into a pretty good shot if for no other reason than like who his father is. So yeah.
But if that's everything, I think we're about ready to wrap.
Yeah. Mm.
All right. Well, thank y'all for listening to another episode of the Traveling Hoopers. I am your host, Alan, and I guess y'all could wrap up so we can get out of here.
Calvin McGowan. It's good to be doing this again. It was also nice to have a break. If you're seeing this on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Philip. Yeah, follow me and everything. I think my Instagram is 65_Phil_Bill. Twitter 65 Wizard of Mo. And all TikTok. Philip. I don't know. I can't remember what it was. Something like that. Follow me because and that's about it though.
We ended the bird.